Welcome to Eduskate. We're going to go through some of the Decorskations here at Eduskate tonight. I get a lot of questions about the Decorskations, and sometimes I'm too busy with customers and stuff to really answer all of them, and I feel bad. A lot of times, too, I feel like a broken record repeating things. So, you know, some of the Decorskations that we have here, this is an autographed Frankie Hill poster. This is from an old Bones Brigade tour. He was one of the original Bones Brigade members back in the 80s and 90s. This is from a tour in 1990 on the dot, so it's probably older than most of the people that come in here, other than some of the parents, to be honest. And he autographed that for me in 2011, and it's a pretty rad memento. Frankie Hill is one of the first guys to really throw himself down giant handrails. He kind of took what Nautis and Gons were doing on handrails and took it to that next level. Giant gaps, giant rails, etc. Just burly, just death metal skating. I don't know, if you get bored, Google him, check him out. Frank Hill, he's the man. This right here is an autographed Guy Mariano board. The guy sent this to me. It was a kind of like a going away gift, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, when I was moving from California to Iowa to open the shop. And I didn't get a chance to see him before I left, and I wanted to kind of shred his park before I left, and he sent this to me. It was pretty cool, you know, a little, you know, tune 8 at Eduskate. Thanks for all the support, Guy Mariano. So I'm pretty honored to have a Guy Mariano board in here autographed by him that was sent to me. It was pretty cool. And you know, we had some good times hanging out before that, so I'm stoked. That board brings like fond memories, good times, all that jazz. Over here we got an autographed Chris Haslam board. I used to live with him a million years ago, back in 2003. And anyone who doesn't know Chris Haslam, he's a very creative, amazing professional skateboarder. This is his first pro model. Right after he went from being AM to pro for Almost, he came home with his first box of boards from Dwindle. He opened up his box, and me and this other guy, Sue Trin, and this other guy, Cooper Wilt, were all sitting there, and we were just kind of baffled, like, wow, your graphic's already out. And he laid it all out on Photoshop, and the graphic designer guys in the department thought it'd be funny to leave it all ghetto like that. They didn't clean it up at all, so that's his first graphic. So I got one of his first boards out of his first box, and he told me to keep rapping. I thought that was funny, because I used to just freestyle a lot, which is stupid, because I suck at rapping. I should never rap, but that's kind of the inside joke right there. So that's a pretty cool memento right there. This board's from Willie Santos, one of my good friends, and someone who helped me a lot with the industry early on when my career was kind of dive bombing. He helped me kind of stay afloat. He always helped me out with friends, connections, and spots to skate and whatnot when I moved to San Diego from Oregon. And you know, he's a good dude. Willie Santos is a great guy. He's been in Birdhouse for over 20 years. He's been like the most diehard pro skater for that company ever since the beginning. It's pretty rad, actually. Very loyal dude, and extremely good friend. And you know, of course, he's Filipino, so of course he's a Pacquiao fan. You know, big fan of Pacquiao. So he's got Pacquiao on his graphic and all that jazz. These are some prints from Grant Britton. He's a very well-known skateboard photographer that shot a lot of the greats in skateboarding from the early 80s all the way to current. He's editor of the Skateboard Mag as well. This is a photo he shot of Mark Gonzalez in 1986. That's just insanely awesome. If I'm doing a frontside boneless on this bank, it's pretty cool. Here's a photo of Christian Soy right here doing a rocket air on a vert ramp in someone's backyard vert ramp in Oceanside, California. I like the little Van Halen tag on this one. That's why I had that one up there. I dig that. It kind of cracks me up. And yeah, these are just some cool prints from the 80s of some legendary skateboarders that Grant sent me. I was very honored he sent me that. I kind of asked him if I could get some Decorskations for the shop, and I wasn't expecting him to send me more than just like one little print like this big, but then he sends me these giant ones. We have a few of them throughout the shop, actually. We have a Steve Caballero one that's over there, and you know, we have a, well, actually at my house, and I take it back, and we just got the Steve Caballero one over there. I got a few others at my house too that he gave me, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Down here, this is pretty much this is the area that always gets the most questions. I always get a million questions on this area, like right here. This is probably the area of the building that everyone just is like, what is all this? So this is probably the most straightforward part of it. This paint can right here was done by a local MC named Imperfect. He's an amazing rapper. His real name is Rick. He also paints a little bit, does a little fine art. And he's selling that for $10. It's been sitting here the whole summer. I don't know why no one wants to support a starving artist, but I think it's pretty rad. And he painted that thing up, and one of his buddies did some of these other pieces that are on the wall, the little 45 and all that. And this board up here was painted by a really loyal customer of the shop. This guy, Todd Brown, his brother painted that. And that was just one of our blank boards. We sold it to him, you know, and then he painted it up, and it's pretty rad. It's got a whole skyline of Cedar Rapids on it, and I don't know what medium he used. I have no idea how he painted it, but it's pretty rad. I'm pretty impressed by it. This is one of my old boards from when I worked for Willie's workshop. Willie Santos had a shop, and a million years ago he gave me like a bro model. You know, it's kind of like where I took the idea from what I do with Adam Miller and his bro model. And Willie Santos did that for me with Oscar the Grouch right there. I thought that was pretty funny. It was kind of an inside joke because I was always happy and cheerful and all that jazz, and he wanted something that was the exact opposite of me. Even though Lindsay will tell you different, you know. She says I'm a grouch all the time. This is Oren Ishii, another workshop board. I don't know, we had a deadline to meet for the graphic, and I was watching Kill Bill, and he's like, what do you want for your graphic? I said, I don't know, something from Kill Bill. So I just threw that together real quick. This was when I was on Capital Skateboards in 2002. That was just, it was kind of weird. There was like this revival of freestyle skateboarding. It's coming back at that point in time. It kind of died from the 80s all the way to the early 2000s, and then it came back, and then it disappeared again. Now it's back again. This is from the second rebirth of freestyle. It was a freestyle board with a square nose and a snub tail. And I don't know. They came up with some James Bond graphic. I don't really know the whole deal with the Beretta 9mm on there, but that was their whole shtick. I just kind of went with it, you know. This is my very first pro board. This is the very first pro board I had back in 1998. This is, you know, when Vision turned me pro back then. This is my very first pro model in Vision, and yeah, it's old, man. It's been through a lot. I've traveled all over, moved from Oregon to California, out to Iowa with it, and yeah, I mean, you know, this is the very first one that I got off the press out of a box. I saved it, and I skated a crap load of the other ones, and you know, a couple of my friends and family have them too. But this is probably the most rare board on this wall, other than one of the ones we're getting down to at the very end. There's only one of, but yeah, this is the robot, the second graphic for Vision. This is probably my best seller on Vision skateboards. This one actually. This is probably one of my favorite Decorskations in here, the robot. This guy, artist named Chris Pugh, did that. He did a bunch of graphics and stuff for some Hollywood films, and he worked for a truck company at the time as a graphic designer for this company I wrote for called Elevate Trucks. And I was staying at the owner of Elevate Trucks' house in San Francisco, and Vision needed a new graphic. It was time for the new graphic, and I was so busy filming for this video part that I forgot that I needed to get my graphic submitted. And Chris just threw this together one night for me. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, something sci-fi and out there and robotic, and I don't know, how about clocks? And so he just threw this all together, I swear, in like an hour, and boom, there it was. You know, sent it off, and there was my graphic, man. I couldn't believe it. It was actually kind of rad. This inkwell from Ironic, I don't know who came up with that graphic. I remember seeing the sketch of it, like it was emailed to me, and I thought it was just kind of cool. It stuck out to me from another couple options that they gave me. And I just said, that's pretty cool. My handwriting's horrible, so I thought that was kind of an ironic thing because I can't write at all or spell. So I thought that was kind of cool. This right here is another autograph piece from Frankie Hill. I got a lot of Frankie Hill stuff throughout here. This is a Clint Eastwood graphic. Anybody that remembers the old Powell boards, probably that graphic's pretty iconic in skateboarding. It was all over the place. You know, late 80s, early 90s. You know, you saw this board everywhere. This is an original Jim Thiebaud SMA board. Jim Thiebaud's the guy that started Real Skateboards years later after this, probably about 4 or 5 years after this board came out. He quit SMA Skateboards, and him and a little known guy named Tommy Guerrero started a company called Real Skateboards, and this is actually one of his boards from that time period of SMA, and it's pretty cool. A guy named Chris Clint, he actually designed the graphic, and he was a really awesome, prominent skateboard graphic designer back then. He did a lot of cool stuff. Some of the old Bosebray graphics with Sean Cliver, and he went all over the place, man. He did a lot of really neat stuff. And it's just a classic board right there, you know, along with Nodis and Julian Stranger and the other original Santa Monica Airlines team. You know, it's pretty cool. I love that board a lot. This is a Jamie Thomas autograph board from Zero, skated by Jamie Thomas, hence all the scratches. You know, he likes to do lip slides, so you can tell by the middle of the board. That's definitely his old ruined board. And again, before I was leaving San Diego to open the shop here in Iowa, you know, I kind of wanted to get some Decorskations for the shop, and I hit up Jamie and I said, hey Jamie, you know, I'd love to have an autographed board of yours or something for the shop. And he hit me back, said, yeah, swing by. And he just had this old beat up one sitting there, and so he autographed it, and the rest is history. Here it is, man. One of his old boards. This is an original 1993 Jeremy Klein Birdhouse Projects board. Before Birdhouse was just Birdhouse like it is today. It was called Birdhouse Projects. And it was, you know, Willie and Tony and all them, I think it was kind of a joke. They thought it was just going to be a project. They didn't really think it was going to go anywhere. And, of course, it blew up, and now here it is 20-some years later. And so, yeah, this is one of the first presses of that. It was back when they silkscreen boards instead of doing heat transfer work, which is cool. So you can kind of see like all the bevelment on it and stuff if you look closely at it, where they screen the different colors on it, which is kind of neat. And yeah, it's just a super old board. This is a PJ Ladd board from right when he got on Plan B after he quit Flip. And yeah, man, I used to live like not far from him, probably about 3 miles away from him when he moved to San Diego area from Boston. And we'd always hang out and skate this place called Moonlight Beach in Encinitas. And one day he decided to play a game of skate, and it was kind of funny, you know, like I had some of my boards in my back of my car, and he had some of his boards in the back of his car, and we just made a kind of a gentleman's joke of it, like whoever wins gets each other's board. I'm like, all right, you know, and I won the coin toss, and you know, I did pressure flips. I'm sure if it wasn't pressure flips only, I'm sure he would have killed me, but somehow I lucked out and took him out with just strictly pressure flips. And so I said, hey man, can you autograph when he gave me the board? So that's the joke right there. It says to Nate, my P-flip homie, and it has that kind of quote, like almost like he's stabbing at me about the P-flips. It's kind of an inside joke, like thanks asshole, you know, like, you know, you and your pressure flips, you know. And so he gave me that board, and I've had it ever since. It was kind of funny. I thought it was pretty cool. This is an original Alan Peterson board. Alan Peterson is one of my heroes. He was the first pro skater I ever met when I was a young kid. I went to a skate camp back in 1991, and I met him. He was one of the first pros to come out to Eastern Oregon and like really visit all this, you know, crazy kids up in that neck of the woods. And you know, this board, sorry, I'm kind of it, you know, is from that era when I met him. But I actually bought it a million years later at a place called the Surf Grotto in San Diego. And they were going out of business, and they were liquidating all their inventory, and I had to buy this board. It was kind of sad. I blew $200 on it, but you know, it was kind of worth it. You know, the most expensive thing I paid for on the wall, to be honest. This board is from Josh Kalis. A lesson to any of you kids out there that think because your friend tells you need an 8.25 or an 8.5 wide board or 8 1/4, and you're like a little dude with a little size 6 foot. Josh Kalis has like a size 13 foot, and this is how wide his board is, 7.5. All right, so. Just let you know, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's all just taste and preference. There's no wrong or right shape to skate. It's just what feels good to you. This board was a board Josh Kalis did a switch heel flip over at Gap with in the DC video back in 2003. Me and Sean Rogers are filming with him, and long story short, he cracked the board, and he threw it in the bushes when he set up another one, and I just kind of picked it up because I thought it was kind of a cool memento from that shoot and that day. And I had him autograph it, and yeah, man. Ever since then, when I see Josh, I was bringing that up, and it's kind of funny when I was crack up about it. I think he thought it was goofy that he thought I was trying not to litter. He thought I was being all environmental, but really, it was just I thought the board was too cool to throw away with all the eggs and everything on it.